I'm heading down to spring training shortly. I'm going to spend a few days in the sunshine and watch a little baseball. I do it every spring. It's not for work, it's just for me. That's the game I grew up playing and watching and loving. I grew up on the north side of Chicago, so consequently I was a Cubs fan, and that's just how it works. North side, you're a Cubs fan. South side, you're a White Sox fan. It's really a law in Chicago, if you didn't know. It was easy for a kid to be a Cubs fan because of Wrigley Field. It had no lights until 1988, so all their home games were day games, and all their games were on TV. Very unusual back then. So every day I'd get home from school at about 3 o'clock and I'd catch the last few innings of the Cubs game on TV. And boy, they had a star-studded lineup back then. They had Hall of Famers everywhere. Fergie Jenkins was on the mound, Ron Santo at third base, Billy Williams in left, and of course, Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, was at first base. Ernie, as I'm sure you're aware, died last month. And I didn't get to talk about it much on this show because Woody and I were at the Super Bowl, and when you're at the Super Bowl, it's all football all the time. So if you don't mind, I'm going to say a few words about Ernie Banks right now. When Ernie passed away, I lost a large part of my childhood. He wasn't my favorite Cub. That was Sweet Swingin' Billy Williams. But Ernie was real close. You see, the Cubs were a pretty hopeless franchise. Haven't won a World Series since 1908. Haven't even been to the World Series since 1945. But Ernie always brought hope every spring, every spring. This Cub would emerge from winter hibernation and tell us that this would be the year. He was the eternal optimist. He also had this unique form at the plate. He'd hold the bat upright and he'd wiggle his fingers along the handle, just like this. We spent hours on the playground mimicking the stance, mimicking the finger wag, mimicking the swing. We copied all the Cubs players, but Ernie's style was almost always the most recognizable. So when Ernie died, it brought back a lot of memories, but it also brought some sadness, some melancholy. I'm going to go to the Cubs game on Friday down in Mesa, Arizona. I already have my credential. And I'm going to stand on the field, maybe even behind the batting cage, and I'm probably going to think about all that, growing up a Cubs fan, growing up watching and idolizing Ernie Banks every day. And I'm going to try to be happy, not sad, because Ernie was always happy. Despite all that losing, and Ernie never played in a postseason game, he still wanted to play too every day. And he gave everyone else hope every spring. And that's more with less. Talk a little more about Cooney Lexus right now. They have their performance sales event going on right now at Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. They have more new models than ever, including the first ever NX, the first ever RC. Go try them out. Visit Colorado's #1 Lexus volume dealer at I-25 in Bellevue. You can check out all things Cooney Lexus at CooneyLexusofGreenwoodVillage.com.